Introduce yourselves.
Good afternoon,
Hi, good
everybody.
afternoon. Thank you, Nora.
Thanks, Nora. I'm Ann.
you.
I'm the principal here at Capozzi Design Group, and this is my partner and husband.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Kevin, and excited to have you guys with us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today. Looking forward to this. So today, let's get started. Today, what we're going to talk about, we're going to be talking about what's new in kitchen design. We will be talking about the top 6 reasons that it's a great time to consider remodeling your kitchen. We're going to talk about budgeting. We're going to talk about remodeling timelines. And then we have a couple specials for spring of 2021. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Oh, there's that great picture of us. So you can see Kevin and I, we've been featured, as you can see here on the left. We have 25 years of experience. We are a family-owned business. We have a 4.8 star rating on Google. We do have the award-winning showroom, which that's where we are today here in Chagrin Falls. And we are professionally licensed.
Yeah.
So Kevin and I have been married a long time. We have 5 children, and design and build is certainly in our blood. I am 3rd generation in the industry, and happy to be here. So a little bit about our awards and recognition. Do you want to talk about this for a moment?
Yeah, so in 2017, we were Showroom of the Year. It was a design award first place for a kitchen and bath showroom. And then in 2020, Best of House, highest rated customer satisfaction, which we're very proud of.
And yeah, actually, we just won Best of House for 2021 as well. So really proud of that. We have 6 years now where we've won Best of House for house. Sorry about that, including 2021. And the Showroom of the Year was a great award because that was given to us by our peers in the Ohio market. So we're very proud of that.
Yeah.
Great. So let's get started and talk about the fun things that everybody's here to talk about.
Absolutely.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about colors, materials, countertops, fixtures, and lighting. So those are some of the things. So some of the new things when it comes to kitchens and baths and those designs. So there are some new color trends out there, and those color trends are really in kind of that gray family. We are seeing a rise in colors like navy and what have you. So we'll be touching on those things.
And matte finishes.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot with matte finishes, and also the quartz countertops as well, which were mentioned. We're definitely seeing a movement in natural materials as well, such as quartzite. So lots of great new things, great new products available on the market. Lots of great reasons to consider renovating your kitchen. The first thing, one of the first things we'll talk about is just kind of the beauty and the livability. So it's true that you never get a second chance to make a great first impression, right? So it's really awesome to be able to have people over, to be able to entertain in the world that we're living in, right? Just even having our families at home, it's great to be able to have a space that's beautiful for you to look at and really enjoyable to work in as well.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to be said for the way that a space looks and the way that it functions. So beauty is really important. We want to walk into a space that we can feel really great about, and we also want it to function really well.
Yeah, I think that's incredibly important. I think a lot of times the function of a kitchen is overlooked and really kind of focused on, because the materials and the colors and everything, it's exciting to look at it and just sort of bring it all together. But, really when it comes down to it, not only does it want to be a space that you enjoy being in because of how it looks, but also how it works.
Absolutely. Really important. Let's talk about lifestyle. So again, this kind of comes back to this idea of it is a lifestyle change, as Kevin said, in the way that a kitchen functions or a way that it works. So if there are more people obviously spending time at home these days. They're taking a look around and they're saying, wow, look at how this space looks. And then also, how does it function? So we want to make sure that a space functions really well. And as you have a growing family, or if you're aging in place, those needs for a way that a kitchen functions and even the way it looks can change over time. So we want to make sure that when we're renovating, we consider those things and that we improve as much as we can to make it livable and personal for where you are in your age and stage in life.
Absolutely.
So efficiency is another one. Again, I think that goes back to the livability. And when you talk about how things should function, right? If you are a large family, it's important that you have certain things in that kitchen. It's very different, again, than someone that is aging in place, and what functionality looks like and the way that you cook. That looks very different, whether you're a young family, you have kind of school-age children, or maybe you're an empty nester. So even the efficiency changes the way that we take a look at that.
And I think that's tied in a lot to lifestyle too, because like if you're the type of person if you're doing wheatgrass shots and smoothies, you're in your kitchen's not set up for, that type of cooking, then there's going to be a lot of inefficient things where you're walking across and you're pulling things out that are maybe don't have not a place for everything. So I think when there's lifestyle, so that you either a house that maybe was the kitchen, it was the original kitchen in it, or if it's a lifestyle change that you're trying to make, I think that's really a huge opportunity to increase better efficiency in trying to achieve how you live.
Absolutely. And it's amazing what a difference it can make. And there's so many products out there that are available today to really increase the efficiency and the livability. And they're not for everybody, right? So if you get online, there are lots of great, cool things, and they're not for everybody, but for certain portions. And that's part of what we really try and do, is really help to understand what is it that you're really in need of. And by listening, we can really help to provide solutions that make the most sense for your life and the way that you live.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think this is really, really interesting. So we're going to talk for a minute about having a greener kitchen, right? So I think today there certainly is a move for having more energy efficiency in life and in everything we do. And certainly appliances are one really big place that you can have greater efficiency. Kevin and I actually just purchased a new washer and dryer, and I was amazed to see was it the washer or the dryer?
It was the washer, and it said $9 a year to on average to operate this machine.
Yeah.
And that's incredible to think about.
It is. There are a lot of products out there that will give you that energy efficiency just in the way that they're built. But then there are other products like induction cooktops or induction ranges that are just more efficient based on what they are over purchasing gas or electric. So it's true that a green kitchen will perform better. It does use less energy, and it certainly does save money, just as Kevin said, even in this this machine that we just got for to spend $9 a year on a washing machine is for the electric is just unheard of and pretty amazing in how far we've come.
And there's a lot to, as far as like eco-friendly appliances, there's certain things that could save a lot of money, but it also depends on how you use it. For an example, like an instant hot water tank, you pay more up front. It's more efficient if you're using a certain volume of water. But if it's not something that you're running out of having a lot of water, then the upfront cost really doesn't make a lot of sense.
Talking a little bit about the fact that when you renovate a space, it really is an investment and not an expense. It should change the way that you live, both in the way that the space functions and the beauty of the space. So it should really, it should give you a high return on your life. And it's important to look at that investment, not just in the short term, what's it going to cost you, what's the out of pocket, but what is that return over the time that you're going to be in the home, and then also in resale. Because if you look at the market, people really prefer to have kitchen homes where they've already been renovated. People don't have time. Most people do not want to go in and look at renovating a space. They want to buy a home that's done that they can just move into. And that's the reality, I would say,
Yeah.
in 9 times out of 10 in the clients that we run into. And often we find that people, they're looking at a renovation, not only for themselves, but also for when they decide to sell the home. So it's important to them that we maximize that investment, because what they don't want is they don't want a space that looks like, it came from a big box store. They're really looking for a solution that's not only unique to them and unique to the home, but is also something that doesn't look like it came off the shelf from a big box store. And that's really important in getting the maximum return on the investment.
You got to try and look through the eyes of the future buyer of your home. Is it a big house with a lot of bedrooms that a family is going to be living in, or is it a price point that they're going to expect a certain type or finish,
quality level? Absolutely. And I think that often gets overlooked, don't you? At least when people are starting to look.
Yeah, I mean, the worst thing is to put in a kitchen in a high value home that is something that a future homeowner is going to want to just tear out, because that's just a wasted investment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I hope that helps.
I think this is really true too. I think, so often when people think about a renovation, this is an investment in yourself. It's an investment in your life and in the way that you live. Oftentimes we have clients that come in and, and they've saved for certain things, or they're at a certain point in their life where they want to do something to enhance the way they live, but they don't know exactly what it looks like, because you can't test drive a kitchen, right? It's not like considering purchasing a new car, for example, right? So you can't test drive it. So you have this idea that you'd like to renovate, but you're not sure maybe where to start. How does that impact your life? And I think that that's really can be very difficult to quantify unless you talk to someone that's actually renovated and you see how it's changed their lives. We have a client that we recently renovated a kitchen for, and they're soon to be empty nesters. And their comment to us was how by changing the space, it really changed the way they live. And now when their kids are coming home from college, how much nicer it is to have a place where they can gather and they can see eventually that they would have, their grandchildren or what have you, also coming and visiting and having this space where everybody loves to be and loves to gather. And who doesn't want a space like that where we can all have our family and friends around us?
Yeah, it's got to be inviting. It's got to be, a place you want to be, and a place that others, want to hang out in.
Absolutely. So this is interesting. Do you want to talk a little bit about the 3 brands that we see here in our gallery?
Yeah, so these 3 brands show a lot of it's a snapshot of what they're really kind of capable of. But we really service a wide price point. So, from very elegant furniture quality custom cabinetry to semi-custom, much with a lot of options with Dura Supreme and holiday kitchens. It really spans quite a large price point.
And then we have Aster and NatureCast. Do you want to talk a little bit about those, or do you want me to?
So NatureCast is a lot of fun. Turn your backyard into your staycation. in these COVID times. So, having, a grill on the patio is great. Having a kitchen on the patio is
Pretty amazing.
It is
Life changing.
It is, yeah. In Cleveland, it's, in other markets, this is pretty common. In Cleveland, I wouldn't say it's as common, but it's
becoming more
it's
popular.
becoming a lot more popular, especially with, with the thought of let's take our backyard and make it a destination. And it's an exciting product. It's a lot of fun to work with. And then also Astro Cucine. Astro Cucine is a wonderful product. We import it from Italy.
That's an indoor kitchen, by the way. That is
that's an indoor kitchen. Yeah. And Astro's kind of it brings in elements and design to the American market that is a different perspective than I think a lot of American cabinets and finishes initially think about or represent.
Right. So I'd like to say, so if you saw the last slide where Kevin talked about Dura Supreme and Holiday and Air, they're all great American made cabinets made really all in the Midwest. Terrific cabinet lines. As Kevin said, they really cover the gamut from kind of that builder basic all the way up to furniture grade luxury cabinets. And then you have Astro Cucine, which, as Kevin said, is made in Italy. And so you have like apples to oranges, right? So you have kind of three different variations of wonderful apples when it comes to Dura Supreme, Holiday, and Air. And then you have Astro Cucine, which is different, but the same. So obviously it's cabinetry, but that's what I would say. It's kind of like apples to oranges. Mm-hmm. And it's a beautiful line for clients that are really looking for something completely different. And you can't replicate it in any American line. It's it's a different way of thinking. It's a different way of living. Actually, the kitchen that you see behind us here is a contemporary version of the cabinets from Astro Cucine. They obviously have traditional and they have contemporary. Mm-hmm. And then just quickly switching back to NatureCast for a quick moment. Sorry, thank you. That staying on that slide right there. NatureCast is like Kevin said, a great line that you really can have a kitchen that looks like an indoor kitchen outdoors. It's amazing, the technology that's available. Now, this is at so when it comes to a price point, it's, if you think about a single dollar, a double dollar, or a triple dollar, kind of in terms of even when you look at restaurants and what have you, this would be like a triple dollar sign when you look at NatureCast. But it will change the way, again, the appliances available for outdoor entertaining these days are amazing. To be able to have a space that you can use, many months out of the year here is, again, just life-changing. Mm-hmm. As Kevin said, really more people looking at having staycations, and that's what that will give you, truly a staycation. You're not going to want to go anywhere. So I always think that this is really interesting. Everybody loves to see a slide like this, I think, just to get an understanding of kind of in a generic way, what those costs of renovations look like. Now, this is considering a very generic, basic renovation in a home, I would say built in the 1980s or 1990s. If you live in Cleveland Heights, Shaker Heights, a lot of our older areas, Chagrin Falls, you have homes that are older. The donut or the wheel doesn't really look like this at all, because there's a lot that needs to be done if you have an older home to get it first brought up to standard. Do you want to speak a little bit to this? Yeah,
so I think this is a great way to look at the overall renovation, because I think a lot of times when we're looking at renovating and we initially start getting some numbers in, and we think, okay, so like, so let's use that as a basis point. And, like if you're expecting to spend, let's say you're expecting to spend 20% less than what, the initial budget came in at. then I think that when you look at a project by the percentages, I think it helps to kind of frame, where can we make that up, or, what can make a difference. So, taking out walls, moving, mechanical things, like plumbing and stuff like that could really drive prices, or,
Right. This is based
Yeah.
on there are no walls. This is
Yeah.
really taking out what you have
Mhm.
and putting back in exactly what you have. There are
Yeah.
no moves here to no plumbing
Yeah.
moves, no windows,
Mhm.
nothing like that. This is a very
Yeah.
basic, generic
Yeah.
pull out and
Yeah, so this is showing like an installation cost of 14% and a cabinet cost of 32%. So that tells me, looking at this is more of a pull and replace kitchen versus a complete redesign kitchen. A complete redesign kitchen
the
could
numbers look
easily
very different.
flip those two numbers. From your installation cost could be the largest cost on here, more so than the cabinetry cost, and it could impact. And it's all part of going back to what Ann was talking about initially, with, really understanding what's important and what your objectives are, and getting this, and spending your money wisely.
Absolutely. We really are problem solvers. I think at the end of the day, that's a big part of what we do, is we really need to be problem solvers from the beginning to the end. And you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of truth in that. So some of the things, again, when it comes to cabinetry that affects the cost on cabinets, certainly the door style, the cabinet construction, whether we're doing an all wood, if we're doing a particle board. So we talked a little bit about the door types. You can see here the flat panel, the raised panel, the slab, and the mullion door style. And that certainly is something that affects the cost of the cabinetry. Kevin, anything to add to that, or?
So, I think that kind of bridges across, whether you're trying to do something traditional or contemporary, or
Budget
or
is
budget.
is certainly a big part of
Yeah.
what drives, but as
Yeah.
Kevin said, traditional or
There's
contemporary.
really there's a lot of options. If you were to look at all the finishes, all the species, all the materials, all the different styles,
It's
a
almost
lot to navigate through.
It is. It's almost limitless. But again, I think that's why working with the professional, it's our job really to get that very much narrowed down for you. That's what professionals should do, right? So then we have cabinet construction. So why don't you talk a little bit about the what we see here as far as the construction?
So cabinet construction can vary between a mortise and tenon construction to a production line cabinetry. Also, there's face frame cabinetry and frameless cabinetry, and all of those different cabinet construction types all have different pluses and minuses to them. So production cabinetry obviously is going to save you money versus a complete custom cabinetry. And then the face frame versus the frameless, there's a lot of considerations there. It could be a significantly more storage space, and especially in a small space where it makes a lot of difference. A little bit of space makes a lot of difference. And then there's partial overlay and full overlay. And in this image to the left, you see partial overlay where you see more of the frame. And on the other side, on the image to the right, it's a full overlay. And full overlay cabinets can cost more with having more material in the door.
Absolutely. So the partial overlay is really where that's a price point cabinet, and that's where cabinets usually start. So you do see the frame. You could see that very clearly, as Kevin noted, between the door on the left, the image on the left versus the image on the right, which is a full overlay. And we have clients that do both, and budget does play part of a consideration in that decision. So next we have finishes. You want to talk about the finishes?
Yeah, so finishes. So for like a stain finish is going to be a lot more durable finish because of all the natural character of the wood and the color. It's easy to touch up, especially if you have young children. And staining glaze, it gives it a lot more character or definition, and it could really kind of change on how a space can look. Paint finishes are always great. They are less durable. They are more difficult to touch up over time. And then paint glaze rub throughs. Those are something that kind of gives that antique look or that charm or character of a more traditional space.
Absolutely. And we're still seeing that. We're not using that nearly as much as we used to. But again, in these period homes and people want to really stay in keeping with the original character of the home, we see that that paint glaze rub through still is very much as an option, as something that people are interested in. But again, just as you see here, there are several layers, and each of those layers also indicate the cost, right? So a stained cabinet will be less than a stain and a glaze, and then the paint will be less expensive than the paint with the rub through and the glaze. So I think those are all really important considerations. Again, working with a professional really will help to navigate you through all of those choices and those decisions.
Yeah, and a paint and glaze rub through can really create a nice accent piece as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, sometimes we do that as well, just to bring that in. Next, we have wood species. So what you see here are really, I would say, the top 6 wood species that we work with. So you can see here that there's some woods have much more color variation. If you take a look at the hickory as an example, or even the cherry and the knotty alder, you can see that, again, this is a character wood. So those knots that you see are part of the beauty of what the wood is. I think it's really important to know that there are different grades of wood. So there's grade A and grade B. So if you use a less expensive cabinet line, more than likely they're using a grade B wood, which means you will see even more of the color variation in it.
So like to compare like a maple kitchen to another maple kitchen could be completely like apples and oranges if they're using different grades of woods. So that all kind of builds up into the price point.
Absolutely.
Of what you're looking at, and it's important to understand that.
Yeah, and it's very important. You really need to take a close look at these products so you can get an understanding, because you may not necessarily see it just by kind of glancing or taking a quick look, especially if you're excited about this, and a kitchen's a very emotional purchase. So you really want to make sure that you're educated and you have an understanding of what it is that you're truly looking at, so you know exactly what you're paying for, because there really are these wide price differences when it comes to even the same wood species. So then we'll move on to countertops. So natural versus an engineered stone. So most people today are using the engineered quartz, is what we call it, because you can get a lot more consistency. There's a lot of options when it comes to that, where natural stone, it really is right out just as it came out of the earth. So what you see will vary from slab to slab. You could have a lot of veining, you could have color changes from one lot to the next, and you will have those things. And I think it's really important to know that when it's a natural stone, you do need to seal that natural stone. You are going to have more color variations. You will have pits and fissures. It's just part of the nature of what that is. And there are many, many price points when it comes to even natural stone. I think that there's this misconception that natural stone is either more or less than an engineered quartz composite. But again, there's this very wide range when it comes to natural stone, because there are some really very exotic stones, and then there are some that are more common. And that really does drive the price point of the natural stones. And when it comes to quartz, there's a lot of range there too, but it's not nearly as much as with the natural stone.
Yeah, it's more consistent.
You want to talk a little bit about benchmark and some of these? So we have kind of a couple things going on here on this slide. So the first thing is, you can see it says / flooring and accessories. Obviously, when we do a complete renovation, we're coordinating everything just as you see on the left-hand side of the screen. But sometimes we have clients that don't want a full kitchen renovation, and this is where Benchmark comes in.
Yeah. So we have our own carpenters on staff, and our carpenters, you know, we have the ability to serve our clients from small projects to large. And so we launched Benchmark to better serve our customers at a higher level, and to give them more options, and to provide better service.
Yeah, so we can really do small projects through Benchmark, as Kevin said. So sometimes we're just changing out flooring, or maybe we have done a renovation and then we have a client that wants to age in place and we're putting in grab bars, or they want all the floors changed out, or they want new doors and trim, or just things like that. So we can handle both small projects, very small projects, all the way up through complete design build solutions for you. So we're really here to service you in the home for the life that you're in the home. Talk a little bit about the remodeling timeline. So maybe we'll tackle it together.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So let's start from the beginning. So when you're looking at renovating, we get a lot of clients that ask us, well, how long does it take? What does this project really look like? And there really is a wide range there. You can't really say it's X number of weeks until you're further into the project. But usually what happens is we have people that are interested in renovating. Usually they make an appointment to come in here to the showroom, or we set up a time to do a Zoom call similar to what you see here, so we can learn more about what your goals are and what you're looking for. And then we really take a look at if we're a good fit. We talk about budget. We think that's a really important thing to talk about very early on. If you decide to work with us, then we're going to put together a design retainer, because again, it comes back to creating the space that is functional, livable, and you know what you're getting, and you also know what your options are. So we do talk budget. If we're the right fit, then we're going to enter into a design agreement. We work on a needs assessment to understand what it is that you're looking for and what your goals are. Then we get to, on here, you can see phase 2, where we finalize and we confirm everything in your project. This sounds so easy, doesn't it? It makes it sound so easy. So then we're after phase 2, when everything really gets confirmed, then that really leaves the hands of the design team. And then you'll also be working with Kevin on the project management side of things, and his team when it comes to the installation. That in between is really when we order all of the cabinetry, the counters, all the fixtures. As many of you may have heard by now, that materials today are getting harder and harder to come by, and things are on back order. So it depends on what your timeline is like for renovation and how flexible you can be with materials. Luckily, we have access to some other things, because we're part of a buying group that others may not have access to, because we are part of a buying group, which opens things up.
We have a great team of resources available to us, and they help us to navigate through, all these market shortages that we have. And it's important, I think, to plan early enough so that you know that you can have the materials and appliances that you're going to have incorporated into your project, as well as having, multiple selections. So like your A selection and your B selection.
Yeah, I think that's important. Or knowing that if it's your A selection, you may have to make a B selection once we go to order. But again, at this point, we just take everything a day at a time. So from that point, then we're really looking at phase 4, which doesn't really start with the installation. It does start with demo, and then of course the installation of cabinetry, counters. Do you want to pick that up with that phase 4, when we really get into someone's home, what that looks like?
Yeah, so we stage our projects so that we bring the materials in, we stage them so that once we start, we can just keep going and stay on it. So when we go in and we'll do demolition, it usually doesn't take that long unless we're taking out a lot of walls or you know, if there's a lot of site work that's involved before we can start building it back up. And then we go into to mechanical phase where we're bringing in, you know, our electricians and our plumbers and rerouting all the mechanical things for the project. And then, you know, when we start getting back into drywall, then we start bringing the finishes back in. And then that's when everything starts to start to come alive and takes, you know, the form of the new space. And that's always an exciting time.
It is. It's an exciting time and everybody's always ready for that to happen. So we do our best, as Kevin said, to really manage through that installation. And as I said earlier, we're really problem solvers. There are always issues that come up and you want to make sure that whoever you work with really has a full knowledge and understanding of what the possibilities are to solve any of those issues that would come up. And then, of course, unpack and enjoy and have a great big party with all your family and friends. Oh, these are just some testimonials that you can see here from our clients. So for Kevin and I would say that we've had our company since 2004. And for us, it's really personal. It really means a lot for us to create great spaces so our homeowners can have a life well lived. So from not only do we do our best in the planning to have that understanding of what it is that you look for, but we take us and our entire team take it very personal to make sure that we provide the best materials, the best solutions that we possibly can. And then throughout the process, while we're in your home, we do our best. We're aware that we are a guest in your home, as Kevin often tells our team how important that is to know that we are guests in your home and to treat your home as such, so that you also have a consistent and positive experience while we're in the home. And then also when we're wrapping up, of course, you'll always be happy to see us go, because then that means you can get in and use your new space instead of having us there. But I think it's really important because it's a lot like when you find someone that you want to work with for a renovation, know that this is a long-term relationship that you're entering into. It's one of the biggest investments that you'll ever make. And you want to make sure that that investment is the right investment with the right people, because chances are when that project's done, there are things that need addressed, or you need to talk to us afterwards.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. And Ann and I, we have a showroom right in Sugar and Falls, and we love that we have a brick and mortar place where you can come and see our space and visit us. And to us, it's important to be part of the community, we love seeing our clients, years after we've done the project, and to really talk to them about how, how their space has impacted their lives. And, it's for us, it's just the starting point to be part of our community and be part of our clients' lives.
Absolutely. I always tell people when they decide they think they want to work with us, that we want you to become a part of the Capozzi family. So when we see you at the grocery store, we want to be able to say, hi, how are you? Or we have clients that love to stop in and say hello. We have some clients that just happened to stop in yesterday to say hello. And we enjoy that. That means so much to us. And like Kevin said, we're part of the community. We have a brick and mortar store. I think there's a lot to be said for that. There's a lot more that we can do here and that we can show our homeowners and have a much different experience than if you were hopping from showroom to try and figure things out, or, trying to figure it out online or what have you. So we're really very happy to be a part of the community here in Northeast Ohio and here in Chagrin. And we love our showroom with our working kitchen, and it's just a good place to be. Oh, and we have our spring 2021 promotion. So you could see here, we're offering just 2 promotions. So the first one is 10% off of quartz countertops, that quartz composite. So if you, whether it's a full renovation or you're just looking at replacing that countertop and maybe the backsplash, that would be a great offer for you. And then also if you take a look at the offer on the right, that's for a free granite countertop. I think we have 5 colors to choose from, up to 36 inches. If you are looking, if you decide to sign for a new bathroom renovation, and I think that runs through the end of this month. Okay. Do we have questions?
Okay, hello again, guys. Thank you
Hi.
very much for those great information. We had some connection problems, but it was great. So much good
Terrific.
stuff.
Good.
Okay,
Any
so-
questions?
Yes, we do get some questions from Facebook. Okay, Susan is asking, what's the best time to start a new kitchen remodeling project? Do you recommend spring or summertime?
Well, it takes time to plan, so the sooner the better. And also if you're considering, again, when it comes to materials or what have you, things are taking a while to get in. So the sooner the better. And I think, I think spring and summer are both a good time. Do you want to speak a little bit
So
to that?
I think it's good to look at it in 2 different ways. One is look at it as a target date. A lot of times there's an event that's taking place, a wedding, a graduation, or a time of year. And I think it's good to look at it in terms of that. And then as well as, we've always encouraged, a lot of planning up front because of the size of the projects that it is. And I think that even more so today, because of the availability of products, it's important to start as early as possible to kind of get a time frame together.
Right. And then you should really work backwards with there. So you work with
Yeah.
your specialist to plan that once you have an idea of when you want to be starting that or finishing that project. Because as Kevin said, I mean, it's months and months usually in the planning and the ordering of materials. So if someone came to us today and wanted a kitchen in 2 months, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so another question from Carol. Which countertops go well with off-white cabinets?
I think it depends on the style that you're looking at. So if it's contemporary, then you're going to want something that really doesn't have a whole lot of movement to it. I think if it's more of a little more rustic or traditional, then there are some beautiful granites that can add some color and some variation that will pull in the off-white colors.
Yeah, I think a lot of furnishings and a lot of materials, that's in the house, whatever you put into it, even more so than the cabinets themselves, is you don't want it to compete with other things in the house or be distracting. Whatever you put into your new space, you want it to complement what you have.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you guys. And we have one more question. I think it's the last one. Are made in USA cabinets and countertops more expensive than the imported cabinets?
That's a good question. I think that there is, when you're looking at the cost of a cabinet, I think it's important to kind of to look at the value of the cabinet. So you can purchase a very low cost cabinet, but it may not be the best value for you. And I think that, Ann and I, we spend a lot of time when we look at the market and we investigate things and we look at it in terms of, what the products that we represent, would we put them in our own home? And that's kind of the reference point that we look at when we're looking at those. So, I think cost could be all over the board, but, I think, what brings the best value is.
So for me, part of that is, and really speaking to what Kevin is saying. So the short answer is you can buy American cabinets that are, that compete for sure with the Chinese cabinet lines. But I think that I mean, for me, I'm very proud to be someone that offers American cabinets. I think it's important. I think that helps to keep American jobs here. And I think that so there are certainly options of American cabinets that will compete with Chinese. The other thing that I think is really important that speaks to what Kevin said is it's the value, right? So what happens if you buy this, this import line? They don't always, one cabinet line may not always be produced in the same place. The quality standards are very different in, in other markets than they are here. We have the EPA, right? So the EPA, there are guidelines to make sure that what our cabinet manufacturers are putting into the air and into our lungs is regulated, which is very different than overseas. So as Kevin said, I mean, I think there's a value that goes along with it. I think you do get what you pay for. So that's why there is a range of cabinet prices, but certainly there are American cabinet lines that will compete price-wise with the Chinese.
And that's another reason I like looking at our projects in terms of percentages. So like if your project, let's say 20% of the project cost is cabinetry, and you could save, let's say you could save, 10% with a different cabinet line, is that 10% on the overall cost of that project, which those cabinets were 20% of the project, is the trade-off for that, the value of what the less expensive cabinets versus the more expensive cabinets, the loss of the value of that. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
No, I think you are. No, I think you really are. It's just like, for how much money are you really saving and what's that return on investment, right? So then if you go and you put countertops on top of it, and in 5 years you have a finish failure, and then now you're disassembling this kitchen, and you can never put the countertop back on the countertop's not going back on, right? So you really need to think about how much you're investing, what you're investing in, what's the right product. And there's a lot to navigate through.
There's a lot of decisions.
There's a lot of decisions. And that's why, again, the clients that love us are the clients that say, I don't know everything, and I want my project in the hands of a professional that will guide me and help me to make the right decisions, because I know that this isn't something I can do myself. And I know this is something I don't trust some junior designer at a box store that I'm going to write a check for $20, $30, $50, $100,000 to. And realistically, that's what.
And that's really the value that we bring, is we bring the knowledge base that we have, and it ends up, the worst spent money is money that you tear out in a couple of years. That's the worst spent money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hope that was helpful.
Yes, it was very helpful.
But
that was the last question we had.
Great.
Awesome.
And you could see our team picture here. So please feel free to reach out if you'd like to talk further about your project. We are located right here in Chagrin Falls. You can see our phone number, our website.
And summer's is a great time in Chagrin. So come visit us.
Great time in Chagrin. Terrific. Thank you.
Okay.
Come visit us. Thank you very much for joining today. You can book Zoom call, showroom appointment, anything you prefer. And thank you very much again.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.